Guaranteed. Somebody made a call. Hey. I think Bay Zoo here, bro. Hey, Bay Zoo here, bro.
New footage just hit the net, and the streets are talking heavy. The clip supposedly shows some of Lil Durk's own people chilling with the dudes tied to THF Zoo's murder, and it's got the whole hood in disbelief. From O Block to the BBS, everybody's debating what's real, what's fake, and who really broke the code. Here's the full rundown. Who put the target on Zoo? October 25th, 2025, 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Just another day in the chai where dudes were supposed to be chilling, hitting licks at the auto parts store, staying out the way. But for Da Vinci, THF View Collier, a 35-year-old drill rapper who'd been running with Lil Durk's Only the Family since day one, this ordinary Saturday was about to turn into his last day breathing. Real talk, Zoo wasn't out here moving sloppy or nothing. He pulled up to this pick and pull spot in Little Village, that South Lawndale area right off the 3100 block of South St. Louis Avenue, just trying to grab some parts for his whip. That's it. No posting on the gram, no flexing, no dissing, just a grown man handling regular civilian stuff that any of us would do without thinking twice. But see, that's the thing about the streets, they don't give a damn about your regular day. When ops want your top, they'll catch you slipping at the grocery store, the gas station, or in this case, the damn junkyard. What went down next was straight execution style, no cap. Some unknown vehicle slid through that parking lot with the kind of precision that lets you know this wasn't no random beef or spontaneous crash-out moment. Nah, this was calculated, orchestrated, the type of move where somebody did their homework and knew exactly where Big Homie would be at. View had two other cats with him. One was 39, the other 42. When the ops let them ratchet sing bruh, I'm talking about turning that parking lot into a whole war zone. They wasn't playing. Over 100 shots got dumped in that lot. Over 100 rounds. Not 10, not 20, a whole 100 bullets flying through the air like it was Call of Duty in real life. Crime scene techs recovered 20 rifle casings and 19 9mm shells scattered all over the concrete, each one telling the story of how bad these dudes wanted Zoo gone. 5 different whips in the lot caught strays looking like Swiss cheese when it was all said and done, windows blown out, metal punctured. That's how you know the ops came with every intention of making sure their target ain't make it home. Zoo was the main target, ain't no question about that. He caught multiple shots to the stomach and chest area, bullets tearing through vital organs and blood vessels with the kind of damage that even the best trauma surgeons struggle to fix. The other 2 homies with him got hit too, but their wounds weren't as critical. The 42-year-old took rounds to the arm, back, and lower body, while the 39-year-old's injuries had him listed in fair condition. All 3 of them got rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital, but soon as them paramedics pulled up, everybody knew Zoo was in bad shape, like really bad shape. The footage of this whole hit started circulating on social media mad quick, spreading through X and YouTube like wildfire. These videos, raw, uncut, and mad graphic, showed the exact moment the shooter's whip pulled up and started dumping. You could see bodies dropping, dudes scrambling for cover, the pure chaos of those few seconds when life turns into a fight for survival. Mainstream news outlets like ABC 7 and Times now refuse to post the footage because it was too explicit, but that ain't stop it from racking up thousands of views across the net with everybody adding RIP captions and graphic content warnings. When Zoo touched down at Mount Sinai's ER, he was critical, and that's putting it light.
3 men hospitalized after South Lawndale shooting, police say. 3 men were shot around 3 p.m. Saturday in a parking lot in the 3100 block of South St. Louis in South Lawndale after someone in an unknown vehicle opened fire. The victims, a 35-year-old man in critical condition and 2 others, ages 39 and 42, in fair condition, were all taken to Mount Sinai Hospital.
According to the word on the streets from people close to the situation who've been talking to hip-hop blogs, Zoo had basically flatlined at the scene or right after. His heart stopped pumping, his body started shutting down completely. But them EMTs, trained to fight death even when it looked impossible, managed to bring him back during the ambulance ride. They resuscitated Big Homie, pulling him back from the edge, but it was only temporary, a cruel delay of the inevitable.
So the ambulance that came, right, he was already basically dead. Like, he had been dead for a minute. I don't want to say he died immediately, but Zoo had already been dead by the time that the ambulance came. When they revived him and they resuscitated him, he actually came back to life.
At the hospital, the doctors and nurses were working overtime, trying everything they could think of. They started pumping blood into Zoo through transfusions, trying to replace what his body had lost from all them gunshot wounds. But here's where it got even more tragic. His body was rejecting the blood. His system, already traumatized and broken down from the massive damage, wasn't accepting what they were pumping into his veins. The bullets had done too much damage, destroyed too much tissue, severed too many blood vessels, and created injuries that even modern medicine with all its technology couldn't fix. Zoo was slipping away, and there wasn't a damn thing anybody could do to stop it. Meanwhile, about 30 people rushed to Mount Sinai when word got out. Homies from the block, family members, and THF affiliates, all of them trying to get to Zoo before it was too late. The scene outside that hospital was emotional as hell. His baby mama pulled up. His main girl, Tiffany, an older woman who'd been holding him down, was there too. According to people who were present, it got tense between the two women, grief and shock making everybody act out while Bu was fighting for his life, just feet away. That's the messy reality of these situations. Emotions running high, relationships
But anyways, so there's 30 people that come, like, you know, his homies come through, his baby mama come through, his girl is there. If y'all don't know, you know, shout out Tiffany, you know, but, you know, Zoo got an older woman. Zoo has an older woman.
By early evening, the doctors had to deliver the news that nobody wanted to hear. Zoo was brain dead, in a vegetative state. His brain had been without oxygen for too long. Even if they could somehow stabilize his physical body, the man who was THF Bu, the rapper, the father, the homie, the soldier, was already gone. What was left was just a body kept alive by machines, a heartbeat maintained artificially, basically a cruel illusion of life that only prolonged the agony for everyone who loved him. Zoo's mama, and you got to understand, no parent should ever have to go through this, initially couldn't bring herself to make the call. How could she authorize them to pull the plug on her own son? To her, the dude in that hospital bed wasn't a 35-year-old street legend. He was still her baby boy, regardless of how many years had passed or what kind of life he'd lived in them streets. The doctors explained as gently as they could that her son was essentially gone, his body just going through biological motions with zero hope of him ever waking up or recovering. Friends and family cycled through that hospital room, saying their final goodbyes to a man who couldn't hear them anymore, offering condolences to relatives who were already mourning even though that heart monitor still showed a rhythm. And then, in the early morning hours of October 26, 2025, after hours of heartbreaking deliberation and with mad reluctance, Zoo's family made the impossible decision to withdraw life support and let him go.
So the family is still struggling with actually pulling the plug. So they pulled the plug early this morning on him, and he's no longer with us.
The machines got turned off. The artificial breathing stopped, and Da Vinci THF Bu Collier, 35 years old, father to 7 kids, rapper, real one, and a product of Chicago's most unforgiving blocks, was officially pronounced dead. According to sources who spoke with What the Word, Zoo passed around 7 p.m. on October 25, 2025. Chicago took yet another L. News of Bizu's death hit social media with the kind of speed that only tragedy in the digital age.
Yo, it's your boy King Yella, man. Bezu was shot 2 times in the chest, man. Yesterday, man. We had people posting like he passed away yesterday. I had people posting like he was in stable condition, people like he was in critical. But now today I wake up and see everybody saying rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace. And I know this done broke a lot of y'all hearts, man.
Other and THF members followed suit, sharing raw audio reactions and written tributes that captured that numb grief that hits when you lose another soldier. THF Rome posted audio breaking down how desensitized they all was to death, talking about how they lost a big face out of THF. And here's the part that made this whole situation even more messed up. Lil Durk, currently locked up in a federal facility fighting RICO charges, got the news while sitting in a cell, completely powerless to do anything. Couldn't attend no funeral. Couldn't comfort Zoo's family, couldn't pour out liquor for his fallen homie, just trapped behind bars processing another devastating loss, while the streets continued taking everything from him. According to unverified posts from people allegedly close to the situation on X, Durk broke down when he heard the news during jail phone calls. While we can't confirm that for certain, it rings true to anyone who understands the deep bonds in F. Here was a dude who came up from them same trenches, made it to wealth and fame that most couldn't even imagine, and still couldn't protect his day ones from the streets that raised them both. Fans and peers flooded the timeline with tributes. Chirology and UK drill subreddits turned into digital wakes with hundreds of comments processing the loss. Durk going insane in that cell. Zoo was his day one user typed, speaking for everybody feeling the same way. Real Steve, real guy, repay Zoo, another added, acknowledging Zoo's authentic reputation in a scene full of cappers and clout chasers. And unfortunately, you know, I feel way too me and bro 35 years old and you know, even he from the other side, but me and Zoo done chopped it up a couple times man on some grown man. So, I could say that he said that, done called me yellow, man. Grown. You know what I'm saying? We done had them conversations, man. Like, one particularly haunting piece of content that resurfaced after Zoo caught that body was his last known Instagram live recorded just days before the hit. In this casual, off-the-cuff session from what looked like his crib, Zoo was addressing his ops with a mixture of that tough guy bravado, obvious exhaustion, and looking back, almost prophetic awareness of the danger surrounding him. Rocking a blacket hoodie, chain visible, red cup in hand, he spoke directly to the camera about that timeless get back and the enemies who was watching his every move. Can't argue with no trolls. I am a troll. This what I do. I get on this tweet with y'all all day every day. The video running about 4 minutes total hits different now knowing what happened just days later. Here was a dude who understood the street mathematics better than most. Who knew that every action got an equal reaction waiting somewhere down the line. Who recognized that in Chicago's gang politics, debts get paid in blood no matter how much time passed. He wasn't naive about having a target on his back. He just chose to live his life anyway, refusing to let fear lock him in the crib, even though that choice would ultimately cost him everything. CPD classified the shooting as targeted gang-related. And as of October 27, 2025, just 2 days after the murder, no arrests had been made. The investigation is still active with CPD's gang intelligence unit on it, but let's be real about solving gang murders in Chicago. Witness cooperation is rare as hell. Surveillance footage usually inconclusive or missing. And the no-snitching code that governs street politics means even people who watched everything go down will claim they ain't see nothing. But the streets talk even when witnesses won't. And word on the streets had theories about who caught that body and why. Y'all ask what the hell he was doing there, and oh, this is this gangs this is the SA part of town, and all this stuff, and everything, and blah blah blah, and I get all that, but also over there he was getting a part for his car. The most persistent rumor circulating right after the hit pointed to the Black Disciples set known as Bashville Crazy from around 71st and Bob Bash. According to street sources speaking on X and other platforms, this was allegedly payback for the February 2024 murder of a BD member known as Man Man, who himself got smoked for allegedly killing THF, one of Zoo's close homies from THF. If these rumors hold weight, we're looking at a revenge cycle that stretches back through multiple bodies, each murder spawning the next one in an endless loop of get back. THF got killed in February 2024. Man allegedly got dropped in response. And now, 8 months later, Bazoo, one of the most recognizable faces of THF, got executed in broad daylight, presumably to even that score. Guaranteed somebody made a call. Hey, underscore, be here, bro, hey, Bazoo here, bro. What? Yeah, Bazoo here. Hey, for real? Hell yeah. Oh, Saint L. We have to pull up. You know what I mean? That's that right there is textbook. Somebody dropped location. The theory that somebody dropped Zoo's low, meaning snitched on his location to the ops, gained major traction in online discussions. The way this hit went down suggests serious planning and surveillance. Zoo wasn't randomly spotted. The shooters knew exactly where he'd be and when, rolling up with enough firepower to guarantee the mission was complete. Over 100 shots ain't desperation or opportunity. That's execution with overwhelming force. The kind that requires planning, coordination, and somebody on the inside feeding information. Adding another layer to this already messy situation, the beef allegedly traces back even further to 2023 when luxury watches got stolen from rapper Lil Osama, who's tied to the STL EBT faction. THF members was allegedly involved in what the streets call a backdoor move, a snake move, a violation of trust, which sparked mad tension between the groups. After Zoo got killed, Lil Z Osama's younger brother reportedly posted memes on IG mocking the death, adding fuel to an already explosive situation and potentially setting up the next chapter in this never-ending cycle. This is the reality of Chicago gang politics in 2025. A tangled web of grudges, alliances, backdoors, and get-backs where the original beef becomes almost meaningless because so many bodies have piled up on top of it. You smoke my mans, I smoke yours. You retaliate, we respond, and the cycle continues until whole generations of young dudes is decimated. The Black Disciples, one of Chicago's largest and most organized sets, split from the Black Gangster Disciples after leader David Barksdale died in 1974. They've been beefing with F and THF's Black PTO and affiliations for years. DOJ reports highlight their role in Chicago's ongoing violence, with over 100 homicides tied to various BD subsets since 2020 alone. Zoo's death fits right into this broader pattern of territorial disputes and faction warfare that's turned Chicago into one of the most dangerous cities for young black men in America. As one Redditor on Churicology put it, real talk, they want Zoo out the way. The days of recognizing all your ops over with once you hit 30 plus. That comment captures a disturbing truth about modern street beef. You can't simply age out of danger. Zoo at 35 should have theoretically been past the most dangerous years. Most gang members who survive into their 30s have either relocated, caught long bids, or reached some kind of informal peace with rivals. But Zoo remained visible, remained affiliated, remained in Chicago, and remained a target. But unfortunately, man, being in them streets and being in Chicago, man, when you come from that and you in the wrong places, it can happen. Like I always tell people, it can happen to you no matter what. 10 years later, 20 years later, when you in them places, man, it could just happen from the trenches. Now that we understand how Zoo's life ended in that parking lot, we need to understand how it began and what shaped him into the real one known as THF View. Because this wasn't just another drill rapper chasing clout and IG likes. This was a certified street dude whose whole existence was woven into the fabric of Chicago's South Side, for better or worse. Born around 1990 in Chicago, though his exact birth date ain't confirmed in public records. Devin Sheik Collier grew up in Englewood, specifically around 63rd and Normal. If you don't know about Englewood, let me put you on game. This ain't just a neighborhood. It's basically ground zero for everything that's wrong with how America treats its black communities. We're talking systemic poverty that ain't just statistics, but the lived reality of families choosing between keeping the lights on and eating. Under-resourced schools failing generation after generation. Over-policing with no actual protection. This is where young black boys get initiated into gang structures not because they inherently criminal, but because gangs provide the structure, protection, and belonging that legitimate institutions failed to offer. From jump, young Da Vinci was immersed in the Tay-Town Hustlers family. Everybody know it as THF. This was a Black P. Stones affiliated organization connected to the 051 Young Money subset operating in territories where colors, hand signs, and which block you from could literally determine whether you live or die. Not much is documented about his immediate family, his parents, siblings, or the specifics of how he was raised beyond the harsh realities that define Southside life for so many. In the rare interviews where Zoo opened up about his come-up, he referenced what he called living in the trenches, hood slang for existing in the absolute worst conditions, where survival requires getting money by any means, dodging police and ops, and navigating a world where legitimate paths to success feel impossibly far away. This wasn't some suburban kid making bad choices out of boredom. This was a shorty growing up in an environment where gang affiliation often represents the most stable institution available. His youth was marked by devastating loss and the development of street armor that would both protect and ultimately doom him. In his 2023 No Jumper Sit Down, one of only a few times he really sat down with media, Zoo reflected on the mental toll of drill culture with remarkable self-awareness. He talked about becoming numb to death, about the crazy emotional compartmentalization required to function when your homies becoming bodies at an alarming rate, about how it hits different when it's your day ones catching slugs. It's your boy Big Zoo Man. THF Zoo. Instagram, Big Boss Zoo _46 man. OT. It's your boy Big Die Low man. Ballhead Richmond. It's your boy Die aka The Threat man. We going to jump off the dirt man. You know what's going on. Get it. This mindset, this emotional defense mechanism that young dudes in these environments develop out of necessity shapes Zoo into what the streets call a real stee. A steepa ain't just somebody who talks tough on wax. It's somebody who really with it. Who prioritizes loyalty and that day one energy above personal glory. Who lives by codes that outsiders might think is backwards, but which represent survival mechanisms in communities where police can't or won't provide protection. Despite all the chaos constantly surrounding him, Zoo credited music as his therapy, something that let him process grief, establish his identity, and create something beyond the destructive cycles eating everybody alive around him. He started rapping as a young teenager, not with dreams of going platinum or nothing, but as a form of therapy, a way to get pain out that had nowhere else to go. But before music could offer him any kind of legit path forward, the justice system came down on him in a way that would define his entire 20s and scar him permanently. In July 2009, at just 19 and barely out of his teens, Zoo got jammed up for the fatal shooting of 21-year-old Dominic Barnes. The incident happened during 4th of July weekend on Chicago's 47th and Forestville. Another casualty in the territorial beefs and personal vendettas that had been claiming lives in these neighborhoods since forever. Here's where the story gets wild and shows just how broken Chicago's justice system really is. Zoo didn't get knocked immediately after the incident. Instead, he lived under suspicion for 5 full years from 2009 to 2014 before law enforcement finally moved to arrest him. When they did come for him in November 2014, they made it dramatic as hell, raiding Lil Durk's crib where Zoo was at, effectively linking him publicly to one of Chicago's rising drill stars while simultaneously getting him off the streets. Like, bro, the case that I was fighting my murder on happened 4th of July 200 A or N. Don't quote me cause I don't remember like I've been through so much afterwards. I didn't get arrested for a murder charge in 2014. So, you do the math. 5 years later, the charges was as serious as it gets. First-degree murder, which in Illinois carries potential sentences from 20 to 60 years, or even natural life, depending on how the judge feeling. Zhu would spend years fighting for his freedom from inside Cook County Jail, one of America's most notorious county jails. Known for overcrowding, violence, and conditions that basically punish dudes before they even convicted of anything. The case against him was built primarily on witness testimony, notoriously unreliable evidence that's led to countless wrongful convictions throughout American history. Among these witnesses was his ex-girl, who Zhu would later claim in multiple interviews had lied on him out of pure spite and bitterness after their relationship went left.